doing the factors affecting the, or what is the difference, the factors affecting the distribution of temperature. The latitude we did one factor, the second factor we did altitude. I told you also the questions, and the third factor I did was distance from the sea and the coast. Try to apply this. Now the fourth factor is, which is one of the again very important factors. Factor which has the potential of the question being asked 2011 examination. I am not going too back you will find many questions, but 2011, 2012, 2013 examination, you have all these three examinations, so you have the questions asked from the fourth factor, that is the fourth factor is nature of difference between the nature of land and water. Or we can say the nature of land and water is the next factor, or the nature of land and difference between the nature of land and water. Now in this factor, you know that the contrasting nature of land and water results into differential heating. That means different rate of heating. Differential heating, we can say the contrasting nature of land and water results into different rate of heating. Of land and water. Different rate of heating of this land and water. Now, how is the different rate of heating? Okay, it results into different rate of heating of the land and water. That is fine. But how land, as we have done, heats more quickly, and cools more quickly. On the other hand, compared to water. Compared to water, which has slow rate of heating, and after heating, slow rate of cooling. So the land gets heated more quickly, and because it heats more quickly, it cools also more quickly as compared to water, which shows slow rate of heating and cooling purpose. Now this is the contrasting nature. How does it apply, or why are we studying it, and why does it happen? The first thing is why. Okay, there is a differential rate of heating of land and water, but why? So the first reason is why the differential rate of heating. The first reason is, as we have done, the sun rays can penetrate up to greater depth inside the water. That is the sun rays which penetrate deep inside the water, but obviously they cannot penetrate deep inside the land. Inside the land, they can penetrate only up to the maximum depth of 3 feet. That is only the topmost layer of the land, maximum up to 3 feet, and that is effective only up to 10 centimeters. Gets heated up effectively, or it can penetrate only up to the depth of maximum 3 feet. On the other hand, in water, the sun rays can penetrate up to around 200 meters in water, while here only up to 3 feet on the land. And as a result of this, the land gets heated more quickly, because only the top layer of the land has to get heated, and during the night time, or when there is no insolation, the land obviously gets cooled more quickly, because only heat which is saturated there, which is present there only in the top layer, it has to lose only that amount of heat. On the other hand, the water, because the sun rays can penetrate up to greater depth inside the water takes time to get heated up. Also, it takes time to get cooled up. So what is the reason? The first reason is sun's rays penetrate deep inside water, around 200 meters, while they penetrate only up to a depth of 3 feet on the land. On the land. Therefore, there is a differential. Therefore, what is the reason for this? Therefore, land gets heated more quickly compared to water. Fine. Only because the superficial layer of the land is getting heated up, even during the night time, the land will lose the heat more quickly as compared to the water. Why? Because only the superficial layer of the land is getting heated up. During night time, land gets cooled more quickly as it loses heat faster. Now, why it loses the heat faster? You know that because it is only up to the depth of 3 feet. That is only the superficial layer of the land is getting heated up. Now, the second reason for this is the first reason, that is the penetration of the sun's rays. The second reason is what is the second reason? The second reason is land. Does land move? Have you seen land moving? Except during the earthquake. Have you, or in the movies, do we see land moving? In which movie they show the land moving? There is a common joke, that is the continental drift theory. Two elephants in the continental drift theory, they generally show that or Ice Age is the movie in which they show the land is moving, but generally the land does not move. Okay, or obviously the land does not move. Land is static. Water is mobile. Therefore, in water, there is redistribution of heat. There is a redistribution of heat. In the form of like sea waves, ocean currents, while in land heat is concentrated only at one place. Therefore, gets heated quickly and loses heat quickly. Loses heat more quickly. Okay. Now the third is in fact the amount of evaporation. The third factor is the amount of evaporation. Is more on water compared to land. Therefore, heat is utilized. What happens when there is more amount of evaporation? When there is more amount of evaporation, heat is utilized, and this utilization of heat results into formation of clouds, and thus there is less insolation. So, though the same places are getting though the land and water in the same latitude, in the same area are getting the same amount of insolation, but there are different factors. One of the factors is the amount of heat which water gets is spent in the process of evaporation, is utilized in the process of evaporation. So this is one of the factors. So it does not raise the temperature by an equal amount to the land. So the third factor is the amount of evaporation. The fourth factor is specific heat of water. What is the specific heat? It is the amount of heat required to raise a temperature of body by 1 gram. Temperature of 1 gram of a substance, of a body or of a substance, by 1 degree Celsius. Now you must be knowing that the specific heat of water is more than specific heat of a land. Therefore, the temperature required to raise therefore the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of water by 1 degree Celsius is greater than the land, is greater for water than that of a land. So how does it affect? Where does it affect? You must have generally witnessed, if you are living in the colder regions, or even if you are not living in the colder regions, you must have seen in TV serials, in movies, in shows, or you must have heard that the lakes get frozen on the top layer. But the frozen lakes are dangerous because the frozen lakes, if you try to walk on the frozen lake, there may be a point when there only on the superficial layer there is a formation of the ice, and the ice breaks and the person has a danger of falling inside the cold water. As a result of this, it can be fatal. So that what I mean to say is only the top layer or the superficial layer of the lakes get frozen during the winter season in the areas which have severe winters. The lake of Jammu and Kashmir, the Dal Lake of Srinagar gets frozen, but generally the topmost layer of the lake gets frozen and not the entire lake, that is not the entire lake up to the depth gets frozen. What happens, it is fatal to us, but it is beneficial for marine organisms who live in water. Otherwise, had the lake got frozen up to the depth, the marine organisms would have died because they would have got fossilized, they would have got freezed inside the water. So why there is only freezing of a lake only on the top layer? Because the specific heat of a water is more. So the amount of heat required to raise the temperature or even decrease the temperature. If raising takes time, then obviously decreasing will also take time. In some graph, if there is exponential rise, there is an exponential fall also. If the rise is gradual, the fall is also gradual. The same logic you apply here, that if this amount of heat required to raise the temperature of something is greater, then the amount of heat required to, or the amount of heat lost to decrease the temperature is also greater. So the specific heat of water being great, therefore the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 degree Celsius by 1 degree Celsius of 1 gram of water is more. Therefore their water gets heated more slowly as compared to the land. One practical application is only in winter season only the top layers of lakes are freezed. So this is one of the practical application, because the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of entire lake will be, or to decrease the temperature of an entire lake will be very, very high. So इसलिए one of the other practical application, generally in the bucket also, or even in the wells or in the ponds or in the swimming pool, if you go deep inside, even during the hot summer day, the top layer is very, very hot, warm water. But if you jump deep inside, you can feel the temperature difference in the water. Why? Because of the specific heat capacity. If you have not seen, then if you know swimming and if you jump into deeper water, obviously you will feel the more of a difference in the static water, not in the water in which there is a proper mixing, but in the static water. Or what I want to say by the freezing lake is, you can watch the movie, the third part of a Batman, that is Night Rises. So they have shown there. Then when they sentence the prisoners, they are sent to exile and most of them die after falling into the lake. So that is the freezing lake concept. 2011 question in the preliminary examination. The fourth factor is the fourth factor. What factors we are doing? We are doing why there is a difference, why the water takes time to heat and get cooled. That comes in the difference of land and water. So we are doing why. Why means why the water gets time, or water heats more slowly as compared to the land, and also cools more slowly as compared to the land. So the next factor is of albedo. Albedo. What do you mean by albedo? Reflection of insolation. Reflection of insolation of water is greater than land, and therefore obviously greater amount of insolation is reflected by water bodies On other hand, land absorbs greater amount of insolation and therefore heats more quickly. So these are the reasons why land heats more quickly and cools also more quickly. Now we were doing which factors? We were doing factors responsible for the factors affecting distribution of temperature. We were doing this topic, out of which we did latitudes, we did altitude, along with the reasons, we did distance from the coast, and told you the practical applications. Then we did difference between nature of land and water. These are the 4 factors we have done. Now the 5th factor is the nature of ground surface. Nature of a ground surface. Now what do you mean by the nature of the ground surface? Nature of the ground surface means whether this ground surface is made up of black soils, sand, open forest, or is it covered by snow. Obviously, the nature of the ground surface here, it will determine whether the amount of insolation which is coming, it is being absorbed or it is being reflected. यहाँ पे the maximum amount of insolation will be absorbed because of the black soil. Here also more amount of insolation will be absorbed, some will be reflected. Here more of the insolation will be reflected while some will be absorbed. Here most of the insolation will be reflected back. because 90% of the insolation is reflected back. So absorption here will be more, here absorption will be minimum. As a result of this, because the insolation is getting absorbed by the black soil and most of the insolation is being reflected by the snow, where will be the temperature? Will not it affect temperature? Therefore it comes in the factors affecting distribution of a temperature. Now what I mean to say here is snow covered ground surfaces have higher albedo or higher reflection, and hence they reflect most of the insolation, while coarse sand, black soil, they absorb more amount of insolation and thus affect the temperature distribution. So that means, what does the nature of a ground surface means? That the snow, nature of the ground surface means color, composition, color, composition, vegetation, land use practice, etc. Now how does it affect land use practice? No, not natural, but a man-made thing. If we cut down our forest, we are cutting down all the forest, obviously increasing the global warming, affecting the climate change. So this is an example of a nature of a ground surface. What I mean to say here is the snow-covered ground surfaces, ground surface reflects most of insolation, why? Because albedo is 90%, while dark soil covered ground surfaces absorbs most of the insolation. Most of the insolation, thus affecting the amount of heat, temperature, thus affecting how it affects the distribution of a temperature. So the next, this is one of the factor. The next factor is, the sixth factor is the nature of a ground slope. Nature of a ground slope. What do you mean by nature of a ground slope? If this is the north hemisphere, in the north hemisphere, the east-west facing mountains like Himalayas, if this is the east, or if this is a mountain which is on the eastern side and this is the mountain which is on the western side, which part of a mountain will have a greater amount of insolation, the eastern part or the western part? Obviously the eastern part. Or we can say in the northern hemisphere, in the tropics, if this is the Tropic of Cancer, 23.5, if this is a mountain range, for example this Himalaya region, in the Himalayas, which part of the Himalayas are getting more and more amount of insolation? It comes in the kind of a ground slope. That is, which part is getting more amount of insolation? Is this part getting more amount of insolation? Yeah, this part getting more amount of insolation. What have we studied? The sun goes from maximum from Tropic of Capricorn to Tropic of Equator and then to the Tropic of Cancer. That is, in this three region there is a movement of the sun. So obviously in the northern hemisphere, the mountains which are east-west mountains, the southern slopes of east-west mountains, this is the north part of Himalaya, this is the south part of Himalaya, this part is getting more of the sun rays as compared to the other part. The other part of the Himalayas do not get more of the sun rays. How? Imagine it. Himalaya stretches east-west. So in the east-west, the Himalaya sun maximum India में Tropic of Capricorn तक आता है, Tropic of Cancer तक आता है. So the sun's rays fall on the southern part of the Himalayas as compared to the other part of the Himalayas. Because this is the area where the Tropic of Cancer passes, यहाँ पे sun का is the maximum northward position, so the sun's rays are mostly falling on this southern part of the Himalayas as compared to the northern part. Had India अगर कोई east west facing mountain है, but if it is located in the southern hemisphere, it's of the east-west facing mountains, the northern face of east-west facing mountains will receive more amount of insolation than the southern face. Exactly opposite to this, अगर India southern hemisphere में रहता तो this part of India would have got more amount of insolation. So this is how the nature of a ground slope is. So what is in the nature of a ground slope? How does it affect? The slope which faces the sun receives more insolation, more amount of insolation. What is the practical application for this is, in Himalayan regions, the southern slopes get more insolation and therefore has more vegetation and human settlements. As compared to northern slopes. As compared to the northern slopes. As compared to the northern slopes. Are you clear with this concept? Or if it's not, just apply your mind, or you can ask the doubt. I'll explain. If the people who are not clear, I'll explain the doubt themselves. Then the next two important factors are winds and ocean currents. Winds and ocean currents. What do they help? They help in redistribution of temperature. For example, in winter season, in India during the winter season, you must have experienced, if there is a snowfall in the Himalayas, then this northern part of India, especially the northern part of India, experiences chill in the atmosphere. Or if there is a rainfall in the surrounding region, even your part will see that you will experience some amount of low temperature. Why? Because if there is a snowfall, the winds blow from the Himalayas and bring the cold air below. So the winds help in redistribution of temperature. The winds which originate in the hot regions, they will create hot temperature there. The winds which originate in the cold regions will result into cool temperature in those regions. For example, again, if the wind in Africa, the winds which blow from the Sahara Desert and come here, they increase the temperature of the regions. In Africa, we will be doing this winds. In Africa, the winds which blow from the Sahara Desert and cross the Mediterranean Sea and go to Europe, they increase the temperature. So the hot winds increase the temperature, cold winds decrease the temperature. Lastly, ocean currents will also help in the redistribution of temperature. How do the ocean currents help? The currents which generate in the equatorial belt, and if they move towards the polar region, they will help in the increase of temperature in these regions. While if the ocean current generates in the polar region and come to the equatorial region, they will result into decrease of temperature. So this is known as a cold current, while this is an warm current. So warm currents increase the temperature, of areas they visit, while the cold currents decrease the temperature of areas they visit. So these are the different factors which affect the distribution of temperature. Now with this I will stop the lecture here. Do these factors very, very properly. Our next topics will be more interesting topics such as temperature inversion and wind factor, and then the cyclones, anticyclones, etc. But do the climatology along with the lectures. You will enjoy the journey, because climatology is one of the most easiest and practical subject. So thank you very much and wish you all the